And the one I made earlier wasn't. But we're gonna. So before we start and it's actually like it's not like a. And if you live around me, you probably know about it. But let me just set this up. I'll be right with you. All right. Now what it is that we went to this like camp resort. All right. Now I think it's time to start. So we were there. We went on like a canoe thing, I believe. Like it was like you had to like drive like you had to like canoe like 9 miles. We did like the 9 mile route. So I'm a bit sick. So we passed through like during the route we passed through like 2 other camps, right? So everybody's going on it, and when they all come back, they seem perfectly happy and everything. So we choose to go on it, and somehow everybody fit in the canoe, and it was like I believe like 6 of us, I think there was. And what happened was we were on it, and we were like, oh, so 9 miles isn't gonna be that hard. And we went on it at like what 12 o'clock, and this was like in the summer, and it was like all over the news when it finished. So what happened was we're driving around, right? And then it's like 3 miles. No, not even. It was like 2 miles, and we like just crossed the bridge, right? And like we're exhausted and everything, and like we're super bored. We want to turn around and everything, but we're not able to because there's like the water's going crazy and it's like pushing us forward. So what happens is, we're still going, and then we pass by the first camp. And once we do that, they like celebrate for us and everything, and I'm like, wait, what's happening? And then they're like, wow, you made it so far. I'm like surprised, and I'm like, wait, what? So that's all happening, and we're like, okay, so I guess we're not that far behind. And then we see like a bunch of people like stuck inside of a tree branch, and it's like 5 o'clock by now, and we only been there for like 4 miles already, and we're like exhausted and everything. The baby's like knocked out, and we see these like the family of 4, I believe it was, mom, dad, and 2 little girls, I believe it was, and they're just like stuck on the side, like the water's like just pushing them into like the branch. And they're like, help, help, help. And there's like 3 other boats behind us, and they went to help. We were going to, but they just went to help. And that all happened, and then they were like stuck over there. And then it said like warning, and then it showed like a little deep hole of like I don't know what it was, but it was like 2 sides, and then like next to those were like these 2 metal walls like declining that big hole. And what happened is that like this one dude that was living in the forest, like from the side of the river, this one guy was like just living there like in the trees. It was like a big tree house, and he was like, you guys watch out, can't you guys see the warning sign? And the warning sign's like smaller than my TV. And we're like, wait, what happened? And then they're like, you go to the left as much as you can. And then scared, and we finally see the sign, right? And it says warning, eels. And we was like, wait, what? So we like try to push the canoe to like the left. And then we see the other camp resort, and we're like, hey, can you guys like pick us up here so that you guys could ride us to our camp resort, because it's like getting pretty dark. It was like 7 o'clock, and they were like, no can do, because we have to watch our camp students. And I was like, what? So we're like struggling to go to the left. We barely make it, and that's that. And then what happens is there's this one big area with like a bunch of huge rocks, and like it gets all windy, and it's starting to get cold, and oh god. And what happens is it's starting to get cold and everything, and then like the wind, it like pushes the water crazy, and we're like smashing into rocks, and the canoe isn't like, it's not metal or anything, it was like wood, like straight up wood. And you know, we're banging onto that thing. And then, this is where it got crazy. We banged so hard, me and my sister fell out. We fell out. I was pretty close to the canoe, you could say, but my sister was pretty far away. Because you know the wind was pushing them pretty hard, so we're like struggling to get back on the boat. And then once I grab her and like push her on top of the boat, I felt like a little fish bite like in between pinky toe, and I was like, what is that? And you know, it just felt weird. Like it was just like, I don't know. It was like, I guess it was like, I don't know. I don't think it was an eel, because I guess I would have got electrocuted or something. But like, if they like, oh my god! And when I got back at the canoe to feel my toe, it was like all red and like sore and numb and everything. I don't know. We checked it out, but it was pretty fine. Like we checked out at the, you know what I mean, at the dock. Anyways, that happened, and then we finally made it. And once we made it back, that one lady, the one that was like, that sent us off, she was there, and it was like 9 o'clock, and they're ready to drive us all back. And they're like, she's like, wait, where is everyone? And I was like, oh, I don't know. They were left behind. And she was like, oh, that's not good, because we're gonna have to leave them, because it's like, you know, it's 12 o'clock. I mean, it's 9 o'clock, and I'm like, wait, so we just gonna leave them all night? And then they're like, they're gonna have to. And then she was like, so did you guys see any snakes? And we were like, well, no, but we did see that like big hole with a bunch of eels. And she was like, oh, I'm surprised you didn't see any snakes when you were coming in. I saw like one that was 6 feet. I was like, excuse me? I was like terrified. And you know, that happened. And then when we came back home from the camp resort, it was on the news the next 3 days, I believe, that one guy who collects those eels from like for Chinatown or something, like he would collect the eels from there, he fell off his boat and, you know, and ended his career. He's gone. So my mom was like terrified badly, so she's like so scared of snakes. When we found out that there was eels, she was terrified. So you guys already know. That's what happened. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. You know, it was really fun, this story time. I have a lot more. Oh god, I have a bit more stories I'd like to share with you guys, but we can't store it all in here, am I right? So I'll catch you in my next one. I'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys.